Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for so many of us: building independence through daily living skills and summer structure. Let's be real. If you've ever felt like those wide open, totally unstructured summer months throw a massive wrench into your family's daily flow, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to be drawing on some really fantastic insights from Upstate Carolina Autism Associates today to radically reframe how we look at building independence for autistic individuals. So let's just jump right in. Now, here's a question so many of us ask ourselves the second June rolls around. Why do simple tasks suddenly seem so much harder during the summer? I mean, we're culturally conditioned to think of summer as the super relaxing change of pace, right? Time to kick back. But let's validate what's actually happening on the ground. For lots of autistic children, teens, and adults, that sudden, massive loss of structure, it basically creates an overwhelming sense of chaos. The days stretch out, motivation absolutely plummets, and emotional regulation becomes incredibly difficult. Almost overnight, the absolute simplest daily tasks can feel like climbing Mount Everest. To navigate those hurdles, we really need a major paradigm shift. So often, we carry around this incredibly rigid expectation that independence means being able to, just do it perfectly, totally on your own, right off the bat. So what do? We apply pressure. But here's the reality check. Independence is never built through pressure or by forcing someone to totally rough it alone. True, lasting independence actually develops when we provide the exact right support, tools, and accommodations that actually vibe with their specific nervous system.
So when we talk about these daily hurdles, what are we really talking about? Well, we're talking about daily living skills. Simply put, these are the practical, everyday tasks we all use to meaningfully participate in life. Think of them as the totally invisible foundation of our daily routines. They are the essential, core building blocks that we really want to nurture.
We're talking the whole shebang here: personal hygiene, getting dressed, whipping up a meal, doing household chores. But it also includes the bigger, more complex stuff like scheduling your day, self-advocacy, and emotional regulation. Now, here is an absolutely vital piece of the puzzle to keep in mind. Many autistic individuals know exactly what needs to be done. They've got the steps down pat, but the friction comes in when they try to actually initiate that task or transition from one activity to the next. And that friction brings us straight to the hidden engine running all of these tasks: executive functioning. If you're not familiar, executive functioning refers to the cognitive abilities required for things like planning, organization, working memory, and, crucially, task initiation and completion. Every single daily living skill we just listed, they all rely incredibly heavily on this hidden cognitive load. It's basically the brain's management system. Because of that hidden load, there is a super harmful myth we have to bust right here, right now. When someone is struggling to get off the couch, to brush their teeth, or make some breakfast, the common misconception is, oh, they're just being lazy, or they lack motivation. Nope, scratch that. The reality, and we really have to remind ourselves of this constantly, is that this is an executive functioning support need. They aren't refusing to do the task. Their cognitive engine just literally needs a different kind of fuel, or maybe a totally different roadmap to getting gear. So, bringing it back to our main question, why does the summer break make executive functioning so uniquely exhausting? Well, it's because the natural, super predictable structure of the school year just completely vanishes. Think about all those built-in supports that literally disappear overnight. You lose the consistent wake-up times, the scheduled meals, the built-in social hours, and those highly predictable transitions. When all that daily structure evaporates, the executive functioning load on an individual absolutely skyrockets. And there is some incredibly deep science backing up why this matters so much. Looking at this from a polyvagal-informed perspective, which is basically just a fancy way of talking about how our nervous system subconsciously scans our environment for safety, predictability is literally everything. When the environment feels unpredictable, the nervous system throws up red flags and goes on high alert. But when the nervous system actually feels safe because things are predictable, boom, learning immediately improves, emotional regulation gets easier, and executive functioning way, way smoother. This leads us to a really powerful truth, and I want this to really sink in. Structure is not restrictive. For many autistic individuals, structure actually creates freedom. We have got to shift the narrative from looking at routines as some sort of boring limitation and start seeing them as pure empowerment. Structure provides the baseline safety that allows the mind to actually relax, let its guard down, and fully engage with the world.
Building right on that, we have to tackle another massive roadblock. There's this really pervasive old-school belief out there that providing too much support prevents growth. You know, the idea that if we help them too much, they'll never learn. Actually, the exact opposite is true. Support creates opportunities for success. Remember our core mantra here? Independence is not about doing everything totally by yourself. It's about having the exact right support system you need to thrive. Okay, so how do we actually build this empowering structure in the real world? Well, we've put together a really simple neuro-affirming roadmap for summer success. It basically boils down to 5 steps. Starting small, utilizing visual supports, creating predictable routines, connecting skills to things they actually care about, and above all else, celebrating progress. Let's break these down a bit. First up, start small. Honestly, I cannot emphasize this enough. Choose just one practical skill to focus on at a time. Please, whatever you do, do not try to overhaul a person's entire daily routine all at once. That's a one-way ticket to burnout. Keep it super simple. We're talking making breakfast, maybe folding a single basket of laundry, watering the plants, packing a bag for the day, or just sitting down together to sketch out a daily schedule. Mastering one small thing builds a ton of confidence without triggering that executive overwhelm we talked about earlier.
Next up, we want to bring in supports that actively reduce that cognitive load. This is a real game changer. This could look like hanging up visual schedules in the kitchen, using satisfying little checklists, or tweaking the environment, like simply dimming harsh lights. It also means using co-regulation strategies, where you literally help calm their nervous system by being a calm presence alongside them. These tools are the crucial bridge between knowing what to do and actually being able to pull it off. And the really beautiful thing to watch is how these supports naturally evolve across a person's lifespan. For little kids, the focus might just be on basic morning routines and practicing making simple choices. But as they grow into teens, that naturally shifts towards things like time management, hygiene, and self-advocacy. And then, by adulthood, those exact same foundational supports are being applied to huge milestones, like employment readiness, household management, and financial skills. The need for support doesn't just vanish, it simply matures as the person does. Through every single one of these stages, please keep our golden rule in mind. The goal is never perfection. Never. We absolutely have to celebrate progress, celebrate the effort, and celebrate the learning process itself. A flawlessly executed chore, honestly, that is far less important than the fact that an individual is actively engaging and meaningfully participating in their own daily life. Now, a huge piece of this participation puzzle actually happens outside the 4 walls of your house. Community engagement is vital. And this is exactly where organizations like Upstate Carolina Autism Associates and their amazing NeuroConnect program step in. They provide this safe, structured space to build social confidence, practice communication, make actual friendships, and strengthen self-advocacy out in the real world. This is so important because true independence requires a community where it is completely safe to practice and make mistakes. As we start to wrap up our roadmap today, I want to leave you with this incredibly encouraging reminder. Small steps very often create the biggest, most life-changing outcomes. True independence, it's not a sudden flip of a switch, and it doesn't happen overnight. It is an ongoing, beautifully collaborative process that is built entirely on connection, emotional regulation, and deep, deep understanding. I'm going to end our explainer today with a thought that I really hope sticks with you. What if support actually creates independence? Just take a second to think about how completely that reframes your entire approach to autism, to caregiving, and honestly, to your own daily life. By providing structure, we aren't holding anyone back. We are literally giving them the ultimate runway to fly. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and as always, keep learning.